your perspective, say like common mistakes are in this process or things to avoid when going through this?
Definitely small sample sizes.
Okay.
You always want to be careful when you're cutting data not to get a sample size below like 20 or 30. And there's caveats with that, right? Because when you look at an employee organization with 100 employees and you start cutting data, like you're going to have sample sizes below that. So
Right.
you have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt, right? If you're a multinational company with hundreds of thousands of customers and you're running on a cut on something that gives you a sample size of 3, you're not going to be able to put much reliance in that. But if you're an employee organization with 50 and you're running something and you have a group of 5, you have to understand that that's okay given the circumstance. But something we definitely coach clients on, it's a common question we get all the time, is like, what's the lowest sample size? So with some of the larger like customer bases we deal with, we like to think about those cuts a little bit ahead of time.
Okay.
So if we're cutting the data by certain age groups, we'll try to set up like soft quotas to make sure we're getting enough results from each of those age groups. And that carries through all like the behavioral demographics, just keeping an eye on those. So I would say like sample size is the biggest mistake.
Okay.
Another mistake that's made there is knowing if a difference is statistically significant or not.
Okay.
What goes into the survey analysis is all the results produce like a margin of error. You've probably seen that in a lot of the content you wrote, where it's like, plus or minus 5%.
Right.
So what that means, like a plus or minus 5%, for a 400 complete survey, if we were to run another random survey with 400 customers, we know the results would fall within plus 5% or minus 5% of all of those numbers in the report, 95 times out of 100 times for the confidence interval. But so when we run significance testing, it's basically saying, okay, this age group gave you an NPS of 42, and then this age group gave you an NPS of 52. In many cases, like you may feel like that 10-point NPS difference is a huge deal. But if it's not statistically significant, what that means is like it's a difference that's within normal sampling error.
Okay.
So like there's nothing considerable with that difference that you should really read into or think about.
Okay.
On the opposite end of that, if you run comparisons between different cuts and segments and the differences are statistically significant, that's telling you something's going on between those two audiences that is outside of the normal sampling range. So there's something going on there of why there's a difference between those two audiences. So that's the one we really kind of pay attention to when we run reports.